To the horror with your hostess with the most, Bell. As always, welcome back. So we are finishing up our Scream franchise review in Scream 4. So this came out in 2011, obviously once again directed by Wes Craven, and as always, we have our returning players in Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, and David Arquette. Also, we have, once again, our new crop of characters played by Hayden Panettiere, Emma Roberts, Marilee Jafe, however you say her last name, Marley Shelton, who actually is the young female in main protagonist in Valentine. And by the way, I don't know if it's just me or what, but does anyone else ever think she looks very, very similar to, what's her name, Lisa Wilcox from Nightmares Parts 4 and 5? Like, anyone else think that they look very, very similar? Like, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because I like both actresses. Like, that's just me. I don't know. Anyway, Rory Culkin, also better known as Macaulay Culkin's younger brother, and Anthony Anderson with a bunch of other people. I know, like, what's her name? Rogue from the X-Men movies, True Blood, blah, blah, blah. Anna Paquin, thank you, is in this. A few other people are in this, kind of like mainly sort of smaller roles, or sort of as like the beginning sequences, like the movies within movies and everything. So, but yeah, so this one is kind of like the Scream version, the Scream setup for our remakes and everything, because this was right in the middle of all these remakes. Actually, we're still like getting remakes and everything. I feel like it's not as like severe, like we're still getting remakes, reboots and whatnot, but I just feel like it's not, like, it's slowed down a little bit. The remake truck has slowed down a little bit, but we're still getting some, but whatever. So this one, like I said, our remake Scream or whatnot and everything, and this one, I know that this one does get, or at least it seems like it does get kind of like a lot of hate and everything, understandably and everything, but for me, honestly, and I know I'm gonna get some shit for this, out of all of the Scream sequels and everything, this is like probably my favorite one, which is weird because you guys, especially for those of you who have followed me for a while, I'm always very critical with like remakes, reboots, blah blah. I'm not saying like I hate them. I'm always very critical about them, and just very, I'll give them a chance, but I'm always very critical about them. So it's kind of interesting for me to say, especially with a Scream movie, of okay, you know what, I do really kind of like this one, but whatever. And they did, obviously I feel like, they did miss some things on here. I feel like they, once again, with like the rules and everything of very much kind of like the first Scream movie, some of the rules that they were going through, like at one point, who was it, like Courtney Cox, one of the characters was like, oh yeah, this is the sequel, we have to, it's gonna be bigger and bloodier and blah 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 and this and that, and it's like, well, duh, certain things like that I'm just like, yeah, we know this, like, stop treating us like idiots, please. But then there's other things, such as towards the end, with who our killer is and everything, saying, oh, it's all about fame now, everyone's on like social media, it's all about, fans and everything. That, like, right there, oh my god, I'm like, yes, like, that's, yeah. So things like that I'm like totally agree with. It's more modern day, definitely more, 2000s and everything, 21st century compared to the first one, because especially to the first one came out at a time where pretty quickly, like, there's a lot of things changing, especially technology wise, such as the internet, because within a few years of the first one, internet blew up, and then by the time between the third one and the fourth one, even more has changed, especially with social media, Facebook, Instagram, especially YouTube, Twitch, all these different social media sites, especially stuff like this, like I'm doing, where, we're always kind of doing things. Some people do this for, like the fame, such as our killer in this one is sort of, explaining and everything. So I mean, it very true, rings very true and everything, and I feel like, it was appropriate for this franchise to do something kind of like this and do their own sort of remake within their own this initial run of the film, of the series and everything. I mean, it worked. It worked because, like I said, a lot had changed, and plus between like the first one and this one, the first one, as soon as I feel like the 2000s came, that one was already so outdated, unfortunately. And I don't mean that in a bad thing, but like I said, it just kind of came out at a time where all those rules and everything were, being discussed. Well, it's like as soon as they came out, those rules started to like change pretty quickly and everything. And this one definitely reflects, the social norm that we know now today. So, but anyway, I'm jumping ahead. I am jumping ahead on this one. There's so many things in my head with this one. Let me tell you. So yeah, this does have certain things I liked and disliked. Another thing that I don't actually like. I mean, I shouldn't say I don't like, but there's something that I know this was one of like sort of like the rules, or kind of like trying to be set up as one of the rules, is like the movie within a movie, especially with like the opening sequences that we have. I mean, obviously in this world, in the Scream universe, obviously we're up to like, all these stab movies and everything. And it's kind of like how a lot of us are with a lot of our franchises. Even in the movie, we see like a little party to have the stab-a-thon and like watch all the movies. People are kind of like getting together, watching these movies and everything. But like the movie within a movie, and they're just showing like a few of like the fake stab movies. Once again, I'm kind of like, okay, we've seen that in other movies previous to this. Obviously, since then, it was just kind of like, really, Wes Craven? Like, come on. I expected more from you. But once again, I mean, one of those little gripes that I have on this one, for me, the negatives and positives kind of balance each other out in this, so... I hate the things that I hate in this one, but I take it with a grain of salt. I love the stuff in this one, and not that bad. So, but anyway, and of course we're slowly kind of reintroduced to our original trio of people. Courtney Cox, obviously, Neve Campbell, and Dave Arquette's character and everything. Kind of seeing where they're all at, all these years later. Obviously, there has been no, like, murder since, like, 2000, so everyone's kind of, like, very serene, just finally kind of, like, living their lives comfortably and everything, and probably, like, just now enjoying their lives and everything, because you figure between the third one and this one, it was, like, 11 years, so, I'm thinking, like, probably for a couple of years at most, they probably all finally kind of got comfortable, settled in their lives, trying to live a normal life. And then, Sydney decides to release a book and come back to Woodsboro, and what do you know? Way to go, Sydney. I'm going to blame this one on you, not your mother. I'm just saying. I was initially all team Neve Campbell in the first few. I'm going to go ahead and give you a pass on all those, but this was your fucking fault. And quite frankly, obviously, once again, this is going to have spoilers because it's franchise review, and I'll even go as far as, I'm on your little cousin Jill's side for this, and why she went through with this and decided to, like, try and be famous from this and everything, try and be her own heroine and everything, and rip off your story. Yeah, you know what? Trying to live in your shadow and stuff, growing up, yeah. High school is hard enough on your own, but to have you as a cousin, dude, whatever. That's just me. That's just me. Anyway, oh, I think this might be a little snarky. I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, yeah. And this one obviously, once again, does have. It's very consistent with like red herrings and everything. With like with that, because I mean, we have our slew of characters. Once again, I mean, it could be what's her name, Marley Shelton's character, who's like Dewey's assistant or partner in crime and stuff. Easily could have been her. I mean she's got a little thing for Dewey. It could easily be Courtney Cox because she's on to Shelton's character and like all that. I mean, hell, it could have been Dewey. Maybe he snapped after all these years and been like, hey, you know what? My little sister didn't get to grow up, but yet Nev Campbell just could have like decided to live. But no, Nev Campbell's character got away and lived her life, albeit a little messed up. But hey, or it could have been Nev Campbell herself. And I know that's something that's been discussed in the past of having at least one of the three of these characters, and they've all been in the series. And that's another thing that I have to give these actors tons of credit for, and even Wes Craven for coming back and directing each one. I give Cox, Arquette, and Campbell a lot of credit for sticking with this franchise, and especially one that like has stretched out 15 years or so, and keep coming back to reprising their roles. Because and we've all seen it many a times in many of our franchises where a character themselves comes back, but the actor or actress doesn't, and they end up recasting them, and it just doesn't work. So once again, that's another thing that I kind of really give props to the series, especially the actors and the director for. So I'm just saying. Going back though with the red herrings and everything, I feel like once again it was pretty obvious from the start. At least one of the killers. Obviously, we know by the end, it's Jill and Rory Culkin's character who are the killers and everything. But I feel like it was just kind of really, really obvious that Jill, Emma Roberts' character, was one of the killers, because you're kind of thinking, like, at least when I initially saw this, like, this is the only one I didn't see in theaters. I watched it with one of the girls that I used to work with at another job. Right after this came out on, like, Blu-ray or something, we were watching it, and I was kind of like, dude, it's probably her cousin, because, honestly, she's 17 or whatever. She's probably always lived in the shadow of her cousin's life. Like, God, that would suck, man. That would make me want to go on a killing spree. I'm just saying. No, I wouldn't actually go on a killing spree, you guys. I'm just saying. But that one just seemed so obvious. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe other people did kind of feel that way too. I don't know. And I have to say, I liked the fact that Rory Culkin's character was one of the killers, because we actually have more at least open horror fans in this one. We have Rory, we have Hayden Panettiera's character. She's a big horror fan and everything. Nice little female horror fan. So thank you for representing. I think she did wonderful. I love her character in this. Like I don't necessarily dislike her, but I've never really been like a full-fledged Hayden Panettiera fan. I just haven't seen enough of her stuff. Like, I know she was in like the show Heroes and stuff. She's been in a bunch of stuff. I haven't seen enough of her stuff to be like yay or nay on her, but definitely in this one, I liked her. She's a quirky little actress. Her character's nice and quirky and everything, and like she knows her shit and she's confident in it. Like, yes, I gotta see this, you Hayden. I do. So I like that. They do have more. They've got like an actual like club and everything, almost similar to throwback to what do we call it? A Brain Scan. Like Edward Furlong and his buddies have a little like horror movie club and everything. So it's just kind of nice to see that they acknowledge the fact that, like, now in this day and age where we don't, like, we're kind of, like, proud of the fact, we're very proud of the fact that we're horror fans and everything, and whenever we meet other people, we're always kind of like, oh, what do you like, da-da-da, you know, and, but, you know, it's unfortunate, though, that Hayden did not get with Rory's character. I think they would have had a nice little cute relationship. I'm just saying. I was rooting for those two. I'm just saying. But it's kind of interesting to see, though, like, you know, because you have these two very strong horror fans, one of which is the killer, the other isn't. And one of the reasons why Rory is doing this is because Hayden decided just to kind of ignore him up until, like, recently when she found out that he was such a horror fan. I mean, I'd be pretty pissed, too. I would. But hey, whatever. What else, you know? I think if looking back, I think he may have been like, hey, you know what? Whatever. It was high school. You know, like, you kind of forget that stuff later down in life. I'm just saying. But, yeah. So the whole horror fans and everything in this, see, there's certain things about this one that that they do better than the original, such as, like, the horror fans and everything and all this. Like, and here's the thing with, like, the first one with, Skeet Ulrich and, what's his name in the first ones. Like, yeah, they were supposed to be horror fans, but I just felt kind of like they were sort of like the posers, kind of like, oh yeah, we're cool kids. Yeah, we're gonna think that horror's cool and everything, and then it's like, shut the fuck up. You're not a horror fan, dude. But yeah, you know, I know this one too, like, the whole sort of life imitating art for life for imitating art type of thing. Brilliant. Oh, I shouldn't say brilliant, but they got it right. I'm just gonna say, but, yeah, and towards the end, too, like, and here's the thing, too, like, I don't know if anyone else, I'm sure people have kind of brought this up, and I just feel like the characters in this one, like, yeah, we do, for the most part, kind of get a sense of a lot of our characters, but then once the ending comes, and some of these characters are dying off, I just feel like, oh, like, as much as I do like a lot of these characters, when they died, I wasn't really that upset. Like, Randy in part 2, when he gets killed, you're like, ah, or Tatum in part 1, even though Tatum, like, is type of person, who I normally would be like, oh god, just kill her, but even when, like, she died, you're like, oh, no, like, I just feel like when the deaths happen in this one, you're kind of like, okay, I mean, even in, like, part 2 and 3, I felt like there was more of a connection to the characters. Like, I felt like they were developed just a little bit better and everything. Sorry for that phone. But I just feel like the characters weren't as developed. But the thing is, like, they were developed for the most part. Like, I don't think they were developed any more or less, or I should say developed any less than the previous installments, but I just didn't really have as much connection, like, I mean, even with me liking some of the characters and stuff, and, like, what they kind of, like, were doing, once they were dead, I'm like, okay, but whatever, but yeah, and then, of course, we kind of get to the end and everything with, like I said, Rory Culkin and Jill Emma Roberts' character being the killers. They were going to set up Trevor as being, like, the killer and everything, and, kind of have their own sort of version of their scream, hence the whole remake and everything, but, of course, Emma Roberts' character, Jill, had her own ideas of, I'm gonna be the sole survivor here, I'm gonna live this out, I'm gonna, like, have the fame and everything, I'm gonna kill my cousin, and I'm going to be the new person here. I'm going to write my own books. I'm going to have the fame. And she even says, too, she's like, oh, why? So I can go to, like, law school and do this and work and everything. No, today's the day, or, in today's age, we just all, everyone wants to be famous and not achieve anything, which is so true. It's so true, because there's so many people on, like, YouTube and stuff who literally, I've heard people say, okay, well, I know I don't want to work. I just want to like do YouTube and like get paid by YouTube. And it's like, sorry, folks, but that's really not a reliable source of income. I just do this for fun, just so you guys know. So I'm just saying, don't be all like you're hypocritical. I'm doing this for fun. I just want to talk about movies. I'm not looking for fucking fame. I'm just saying. I know. Here's the thing. I'm realistic. I know my ass has got to show up to work tomorrow. So, but it's that mentality and everything that so many people have of like the get rich quick schemes and everything, and like, oh, I'll do this. I'll do social media and stuff. And it's like, but I mean, I give her credit for trying. I'm just saying, she wants to be like known for something, and it's ironic how by the end she ends up getting killed because they figure out like, oh shit, she's the killer. They kill her and everything. Meanwhile, because it was already told to the news that, oh yeah, she's the survivor, all they're talking about at the end is, oh, this Herring young girl, Jill, oh, she has saved the day, blah, 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 and she will always be remembered. It's like, yeah, you are always going to be remembered, and you're not going to be around to enjoy it. Let that be the lesson for you kiddos, okay? But yeah, no, I mean, Scream 4, like I said, I know it gets quite a bit of hate and stuff. It's one of like, I feel like next to 3, between this and 3, they're like the two most least, the most, how do I want to word this? The least admired, the least liked. There we go. The least liked of the franchise. But I feel like people kind of debate on which one's worse. Honestly, I think 3 is probably like the weakest. This one, yeah, even for it being like a remake sort of thing and everything, I mean, it's all right for what it was. It was okay. I mean, it definitely was trying to do like the remake thing, but still stay pretty consistent with the whole Scream franchise and everything. So, I mean, it's okay. I don't think it's definitely not anything spectacular or anything. It certainly isn't like the worst in my opinion. I think it's worth checking out. I'm just saying. So, but yeah, so those are my thoughts on Scream 4. Hope you guys enjoyed. And hopefully pretty soon I will be back up and running with my normal reviews and everything, and more franchise reviews. But until next time, you guys, as always, stay creepy, classy, and a little bit saucy.